I want to welcome Rich Tyson. He is the founder and president of CEO Builder to this radio show. Hello, Rich.
Hi, George.
Great to have you with us. We're going to talk about open book management. That sounds like a mouthful. And I just want to read what you've written about this process. You call it a process where every employee in a business has access to and uses company financial data to help create the financial outcomes desired in their business. And open book management, this obviously is a process that's used in every business. Is this something that people are using or they should be using?
Let's go with should be using. Not everyone uses it, but there have been studies to show that up to 10%, the top 10% of companies in the United States use open book management very routinely.
Give us a little of your background, Rich, and why open book management has become such an important part of what you teach.
Well, there's really four areas that I work on in my business. Those are helping CEOs with their strategies, helping them build their teams, helping them solve problems, and then what I call managing for results. And this falls under the managing for results. It's fundamentally an issue of sharing with employees how the company is measuring success. And if you share that data, you're going to have more buy-in from your employees. But as you referenced earlier, not everybody does it, and there's some reasons they don't.
You use what you call a balanced scorecard. It's most effective when combined with this balanced scorecard. What is that?
Well, I believe that open book management should go beyond financials. If you look at profit and loss statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, those are all lagging indicators. What that means is when you get the measurement on those, it's already done. You don't have the opportunity to change those numbers in that moment. When they're on the page, you're done. But there are leading indicators that drive those lagging indicators. So if you look at the balanced scorecard, what it says, and by the way, this is a concept that was created by a couple of fellows from the Harvard Business School, Kaplan and Norton. And balanced scorecard says that, well, what drives financial outcomes? Financial outcomes are driven by how we treat our customers. So customer outcomes, customers getting what they want, drives financial outcomes. And if you want to get a level deeper, balanced scorecard says, of course, you're going to measure both customer and financial, but what drives customer outcomes? Well, it's the operation of the business, whether it's a company that manufactures something or a service company or any of that. It's how we operate that creates customer outcomes, delighted customers, that creates financial outcomes. And even below the operational metrics or key performance indicators that you'd measure for operational, so you're measuring those at the operating level, you're measuring them at the customer level, and you're measuring financial. Even below that, there is, you got to train your people to be able to do those things operationally. And so there are training metrics, training key performance indicators that are leading indicators to the operational outcomes, which are leading indicators to the customer outcomes, which are leading indicators to the financial outcomes. And then I have added my own model to it to say, it's not enough to do all of that. You have to recruit the right people. There's a great author, Jim Collins, Good to Great, who said, get the right people on the bus. And so we have to recruit right to get the right people to train, to create the operation, to create the customer outcomes, to create the financial outcomes. And so Balanced Scorecard says we need to have some measures for each of those. And if we use then Balanced Scorecard in conjunction with open book management, then you're sharing all of those various key performance indicators with employees, the ones that they can have an impact on, so that they recognize cause and effect, and good things happen. That's why it's so strong.
What about the costs of implementing this?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. The biggest cost is fear of sharing information. It isn't financial cost, because often you can do an open book system fairly simply. Sometimes people hear it and they think they need to buy a new set of software, and there's certainly people out there that'll sell software that'll work with open book. But rather than making that kind of investment, most of what ought to happen is, and overcoming the fear to be overcome, I should say, is the fear of sharing information, especially financial information. Most company CEOs who aren't using this, most executive teams who are not using it, the reason, the biggest issue that they fight with in even looking at it is, well, I'm going to share this information with people and they will take it outside the company. Somehow my competitors will get it, and it sounds like I'm really going to be stupid to share that information. And so that cost has to be dealt with. And but there are some ways to deal with that cost. But that's number one. Second is the cost of thoroughly implementing it is higher than one might think. Even though you can do it simply in a lot of ways, there's a cost-benefit analysis that ought to be done relative to making the commitment.
We've been listening to Rich Tyson. He's the founder and president of CEO Builder. We've been talking about open book management. Thanks so much, Rich, for joining us.
Oh, thank you, George. I appreciate the opportunity. Love to talk to anybody about open book.